Good morning, afternoon, and evening to everybody watching this video now and in the future. Sorry, let me get my mic a little closer here. We are going to go ahead and do another tier list today. Today we are doing another movie one. It's been a little bit since I've done a movie one, and our subject, as you can see from my screen and probably from the name of this video, is Transformers, specifically the Transformers films that have come out over the last 2 decades or so, about a decade and a half. So we're going to be talking about all 5 of the main Transformers movies. Let me go ahead and try to get these into some kind of order here. And then in addition to that, we're going to be talking about Bumblebee, the spin-off movie, and then 2 animated ones. So starting, before we start, actually, our tier list here, we have Prime at the top. That'll be our S tier today. Then we have Good, Average, Meh, and then Y, our Y category. You'll see why it's labeled that, but it's basically because these movies make you ask, why did they make this? So, starting with the first Transformers movie, the 2017 Transformers. Of course, the first 3 of these movies starring Shia LaBeouf, Megan Fox for, I think, just the first 2, and then I think all 5 of these directed by Michael Bay. Lots of explosions, lots of moving. This first one, I have to put it in Prime, and I know that some people did not like this movie. I know that the reviews on it were not good. It didn't win. Well, the reviews were, I think, okay, right? But it didn't win any Oscars or anything. But just seeing this movie for the first time in 2007, seeing Transformers come to life in a seemingly realistic way, I lost my mind when I first saw the cars transform into the robots and stuff. And in addition to that, I thought the story was good. It made sense and everything, which is much, much more than I can say for, some of these other ones. So, a couple years after that, 2009, they had the sequel, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. This one, I think, is a good movie. I think that in some ways it came up a little short. There was the whole Fallen, who was like a new villain and stuff. And it added more layers to the story, which was not a bad thing, but I feel like it tried to do more than it needed to. And there was certain parts of the story, like they had the entire opening sequence in Hong Kong, which was pointless, other than at the end that they got some information about something. But I don't know. There's just some of the parts of the movie feel disconnected. I do like the movie, but not the best one in my opinion. Next, we have Transformers: Dark of the Moon. For this one, this is going to be the part where some people are looking at me like, what the heck are you thinking? Because I think that Transformers: Dark of the Moon is a really, really good movie. Is it better? I guess I'll put it in good. So I guess I won't put it in Prime. I'll put it in good. I do think it's better than Revenge of the Fallen. I'm a sucker for trilogies that end a movie series off on a high note. And I just felt like in the third movie, the Transformers, the Autobots were finally accepted. Obviously, there's all the destruction of Chicago. There's the final battle with everybody. They finally win, right? I thought it was the perfect way to end the series. And then they didn't. So, yeah. So I did like it. I have been good here. Yeah, I don't think it's as good as the original. So I guess I'll leave the first one there in Prime. Next, we have Transformers: Age of Extinction. This movie is meh. Like I just said, I thought that the original trilogy did a really good job of capping off itself. It was boom, 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 3 movies meant to be a trilogy, or at least I think it was meant to be a trilogy. And it felt that way. It felt like the door was closed. If they wanted to do more movies, I thought they should have done something new. And they tried to, with introducing ancient history. This is the one where the Dinobots were in it, by the way. This movie was also 3 hours long, which was not a good thing. This was the movie where, they didn't have Shia LaBeouf anymore. They didn't have a lot of the old other people. I thought Mark Wahlberg was good in it, but they started to introduce history the dinosaurs were actually destroyed by transformer parts being rained down on Earth. Transformium, I think they called it. And yeah, I wanted to like this movie so bad. In fact, because I worked in a movie theater at the time that this came out, I actually have the head of Grimlock, of the T-Rex Dinobot. actually have the head of it. It's above my computer right now. It's up on my wall. So I wanted to like this movie so bad. I love the Dinobots and everything, and it just wasn't good. It was just bad. So yeah, meh. And I don't even know why they made the last movie, Transformers: The Last Night. I don't even know why this thing was created. There were so many more problems with this movie than the last one. They added more ancient history. Apparently, the Transformers helped King Arthur, in ancient wars, and there's all these other ancient types of history that the Transformers were actually in. And it's like, if you want to include a little bit of that, like, that's one thing. Like, kind of like how X-Men did with like Apocalypse. Like, if you want to include a little bit of it, like, oh, he helped them found something. But they did it way too. They said Transformers were in everything from King Arthur to World War One to the Civil War. I mean, like, it just wasn't good. On top of that, I didn't mention this with 4, but in 4 and 5, all of a sudden the Autobots go from being the good guys and trusted by the government to being hunted again, and the bad guys, or not necessarily the bad guys, but the government doesn't trust them all of a sudden. It's like, what? They just helped save the world in Dark the Moon. Like, we just saw that. So I didn't like that. It just felt like a step backwards just for the point of having drama. So these movies, 4 and 5, I felt like really took the series down, and I think a lot of people would probably agree with me on that. Going with Bumblebee now. Bumblebee was very good. I did not expect much from this movie, and it was excellent. I think the really good thing about this movie is it did not try to do too much. It had a very simple plot. It was a kind of coming of age story for the characters involved. It didn't, I don't think, contradict with anything in the other stories, which I appreciated. But it very much told its own story, and it was a very simple story at that. So I thought that Bumblebee was a very good one. Transformers, the original movie, this is the 1984, I think, original movie. This was a good movie. I remember watching this as a kid. We used to have a VHS of it that was kind of old and messed up, so it would always pause in the same spots. You'd have to fast forward. Some, kids nowadays don't know what VCRs are, but I remember watching that one back when I was a kid. And it was a good movie. It's very good. It tells a story about how the Optimus Prime is actually defeated, and so is Megatron. They're both defeated, and Megatron basically gets turned into Galvatron by Unicron, and Unicron is the main enemy of that film and everything. My only thing that takes it down from Prime is it focuses on a lot of characters like Hot Rod, who outside of this movie are not really that important in the Transformers media. There's been a million different Transformers TV shows and stuff, but instead of focusing on like Bumblebee, and I know that isn't just this movie, it's part of the series that was in the 80s too, the Transformers. They focused on just new characters and stuff, which was fine, but I think it would have been better, at least retroactively me saying this, if it focused more on the characters that I would recognize more nowadays, which it's not the movie's fault. It's just, I don't think it aged as well as it could have. So I think it's good, but not Prime. Oh, I didn't even mention that, by the way. Why the hell in Transformers 5 did they decide that the Earth is actually Unicron? Like, that was the dumbest idea I've ever heard. Like, what? If you haven't seen this movie, don't bother. And I'm usually the type of person to say, oh, you have to see every movie of a series. They're good or whatever. And I love the Transformers, but The Last Night sucked. Anyway. The last movie we have here is Transformers Prime Beast Hunters, which I have not seen. I've seen like a couple of clips on YouTube of it, and I've read the reviews. Most people say it's a good ending to the series. I'm going to go ahead and put that in average. If you're somebody that watched that TV series and watched the film of it, you can let me know if it's, should be higher or lower, but I'm going to go ahead and put that one in average because I think it's at least average. And honestly, there's no way this movie is as bad as The Last Night. And it's probably not as confusing as Age of Extinction. So just the fact that it doesn't last 6 hours like Age of Extinction means it's probably better. So, all right. Well, that was my thoughts on the Transformers movies. There was our tier list. If you agree with me, if you like my review and ranking of them, leave me a like on this video. And if you have any ideas for future videos, go ahead and leave a comment down below. there will be another video or tier list, well, video and tier list up tomorrow at noon Pacific. With that, everybody, this has been the guy who makes random tier lists.